Hey guys, got something new here. Let's check it out. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to do an unboxing of the A5 M50 AtomStack laser engraver. So this was sent to me by the manufacturer, free of charge. They did send this out free. So it's the first time I'm actually doing one like this. Generally I buy my stuff, play around with it, and do a review on it. So in this case, I'm going to do an unboxing. We're going to do a couple quick burns with it and see how it compares. For those of you that watch the channel know that I have the Atura laser engraver, and I had a 5-watt head on that one, and then I got a 10-watt. I had problems with the 5-watt, not so much in cutting and everything, but the problems with the laser itself, or the printer itself. And so I had to send that back, and I decided to upgrade to a 10-watt. Now this particular one here is a 5-watt. This is an entry-level one. It's looks like it's got some good specs on it. We'll see when we start doing some engraving, but this is the perfect entry-level type laser engraver for your shop, or if you're a hobbyist, for your hobby. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and it looks like it's a well-made piece of equipment from what I've read online. Now online, when you go online, it shows it as a 40-watt, but that's a 40-watt power. It has a 5-watt head. So let's open it up, do a quick unboxing, and we'll do that time-lapse unboxing. And then we'll come back to you and I'll give you my thoughts of the construction and how this thing sets up. And then we'll do a couple quick test burns to see what it can do. Let's check it out. Okay, so here it is, all put together. It went relatively quick. I goofed up only because of my own stupidity, I'm going to say. But this went together, took me about 55 minutes to put this together. I followed the directions somewhat on the manual. The manual has kind of small images of all the pieces here. And so I'm going to claim old man status here and say that I couldn't see everything the way that I should have. These pieces right here have threaded holes in them that have to go face a certain way, and I sort of put this upside down so I could get rid of these two things, these tags here, and that didn't work. So I had to take it all apart, and you saw in the time lapse, or maybe you didn't, maybe it went by quick enough that you didn't notice it. But So I had to take this apart once I had this assembled, and then put it back together the correct way. And so I think that you could easily, if you follow instructions much better than I do, and now that you're aware of the mistake that I made, you'd probably be able to put this together in about 30 minutes easily. Now, the only one I can compare this to is the Atura that I have. And I had two of them. They were the same exact frame. The only difference was the head. But this one here has a nice solid foundation. And after you get it bolted together, you can loosen the bolts that go into each side and adjust it so that it sits nice and flat. And this thing is really, really a solid piece here. The Atura is pretty solid too, but just this thicker bar in front and back really add to the strength. The legs are nice and solid. With everything bolting directly into the pieces, it seems a little more secure than the Atura with the sliding nuts that fit into this little groove here. Now they both tighten down. I mean, you know, it tightens down really well, but it just seems like it has a more positive feel to it, this one. Now, the other thing that I noticed in this is this particular box here. Everything is metal. All the switches, all the buttons, and the even emergency stop switch is all anodized aluminum and metal. And it just has a nice solid feel. It's a nice compact box. It has a TF card and it has an HDMI right here. And you can actually get a screen that you can put on here so that it allows you to just print straight from a micro SD card or TF card. Print straight from that. So that is a big, big plus because you don't have to have your computer hooked up. You don't have to have your laptop hooked up. Now, it does have it does come with a cable for your laptop to hook into your laptop. I have to use an adapter for my Mac, but it does work with that. The gantry is a nice solid gantry. And when I was assembling it, all I had to use was really this one Allen wrench right here. You would use this particular wrench here if you had to tighten up the gantry so that to make it so that it wasn't loose. But when I put this on, the settings that it was at was pretty solid. I mean, I didn't see any reason to tighten it up any more than it was already set at. So I just left that alone. It does come with a metal sheet here that you can cut on, which that's a nice addition. The Atura didn't come with that, but the Atura does have some safety glasses. This doesn't come with safety glasses. However, the head here goes down and it has just a very narrow gap. Now you use these to measure. So you put this down and you bring the head down to touch that, and then you move that piece out of there. And that's the gap that you have. And it's only this thick right here, which looks like about 2 mil, and maybe 3. And so it's not, it's just a standard acrylic piece here. You can, probably get any acrylic piece, but they do give you 3 of these, so in case you lose one. And they do have little key chains here, which you can sort of, I think, attach to this or attach somewhere. So that's nice. The head itself, even though being a 5 watt, at the smaller end of, 5-10 watts, it's a nice solid large head. I like this positive nut on the front here to lock it in place rather than the little side piece, because the side piece tends to tilt it this way. This one, when you get it to where you want, you tighten it down and it sort of locks in parallel. And I like that a lot. On the gantry, I like that the motor is attached up here, so that gives a nice positive feel as it's moving across. I don't know if it, engineer-wise, I don't know if that makes a big difference, but it feels much better to me rather than having 2 of your belts attach here, have the motor here, and adjust the belt back and forth so you got this loop there. This just sort of really gives it a positive feel. It's sort of the same setup that you have on the side rails here. Now this is up a little bit higher. It makes it much easier for me anyway to thread this belt through. Has a nice positive lock here with these screws that screw into the belt, and they lock the belt down, so it makes it real easy to tighten the belt and get it to where you want it to be. The cable setup is, I kind of like the cable setup on the Atura because it has those tracks that interlink, and it gives a nice positive cable there. But these are pretty sealed up pretty well. good taping at all the ends, and they're spaced just right, so it doesn't even have really any instructions telling you how to hook it up. It pretty much, it's pretty obvious what plugs into what, because all the plugs are different, and you know, you have a plug here for the stop, and then you have a plug here for the motor, then you have another plug here for the motor, and then for the head itself, and then you have another plug here for the stop. So this thing will home down to the center here. That's where it homes at, or down to the center, down to the lower end here. So that's where it homes at. It comes with a power system, and this is the 40-watt power there. It comes with a brush, a cleaning brush, which that's kind of nice, and that's it. That's all the stuff that it comes with. Now, just by looking at this as compared to the Ator, if you're going to buy the Ator 5-watt and this 5-watt, I think that this might be a better deal as far as just the construction itself. It looks like it seems to be a very durable construction, and a nice solid construction. And again, I like the fact that you could buy an adapter for this. They actually do have a setup where you can get it with the little touch screen on it, but I'm sure that you can buy that separately. I probably shouldn't say I'm sure. I haven't looked on the website, but it seems logical that they would have that available if you wanted to buy that. But being able to use this just by programming a micro SD card, putting it in here, and be able to let this run by itself without having your laptop hooked up to it is a nice feature for me. I think it seems like a really nice feature. So I think that's all I can say about this. I'm not going to use this piece here. I have a honeycomb grid that I will use at the bottom there. But I think I'm going to go ahead and make some test cuts with it and see where the burning power is, where the cutting power is, and where the engraving power is. And then we'll come back and we'll give you a final wrap-up. Okay, so I've done a couple of test patterns here, and I'm using light burn with it, and it was a relatively simple setup. It wouldn't find the printer, but all I had to do was just add in the parameters to this, and it worked perfect. So underneath laser tools, you have a material test, and that allows you to use power, different power settings, and what it does is it makes a grid of squares that cuts different power amounts. So it'll change the speed, and it will also change the power output, so that you can find the perfect place to do either engraving or to do cutting. So this is a 3mm birch plywood, and this one is speeds an inch, and it's down here at 24, and the power starts out at 10, goes up to 100%. And this is an overall, this is their standard one when you plug it in. Gives you a 10 by 10 grid, and I use that just to refine it down. So this particular one, all the ones that go at 24, they just burn right through. They aren't very good. Now at 100 speed, 100 millimeters per, or well, this is 0.004 inches in intervals. So at 100, it's not too bad. It actually burns rather nice here at 30% at 100, but I want more of speed when I'm engraving, so I'm looking towards this end here, like in the 90 area, and I can see that at 176 at 90 it burns pretty good, maybe a little bit too much. So what I will do is you can change these adjustments here. So I'm gonna narrow these down to this area right here and get a better spectrum to read and sort of refine it down. So right now it's 10 to 100. I want to refine it from like 60 to maybe 90, and in that range, and find out where I can print at. Now this one was one pass, and at the intervals, and this one here is for cutting, and this is for cutting through the 3mm, and this is 3 passes, so it would take and cut 3 times around, and So I found that at 15 speed, at 68, it cut through, at 76 and 100. And then when you look at the back, you see how much burn you get. And at 68, there's hardly any, and there's really hardly any until you get to 100, where you start to see some burn. Now again, I'm cutting on a honeycomb grid. I'm not on the metal. If I was on the metal, I'd probably have more burn on the back. But you can see here that at this 15 at 60%, it burned through going this direction, going horizontally, but vertically it didn't burn through, which is not uncommon because plywood has the layers going different ways. And so sometimes it will burn through going in one direction, but not the other one completely. So you have to go to the next one up. So these are my 2 passes that I made, the 2 quick little cutouts. And this gives me the information so I can refine this down. And I'm gonna go ahead and refine that down and get a much more accurate read onto what I need to set it for a nice etching and what I need to set it for cutting through at the fastest possible speed if I want to do that. So the next video, I think I will show you the refinement on this. But as it sits right now, I think this does a good job of cutting through, nice clean cuts without air assist on cutting through the wood. And I've only done it with wood. I'll test it out with other things. But and it looks like the engraving is going to come out pretty nice too, because these are real clean squares. I mean, the edges are nice and sharp, and all I have to do is just find how dark I want the engraving to be. And we'll check all of that out in the next video. But as for right now, I'm very pleased with this setup. I'm very pleased at how easy this thing works and is used. And I think if you're looking for laser engraver to get into learning how to do all of this, this is a perfect entry point. And it's relatively inexpensive. I think it's 280 some bucks. So relatively inexpensive compared to other units. And it's a solid piece that you can build from. And I'm not sure yet. I'll check into it. Maybe on the next video I can tell you to see if you can get a stronger head for it. That might be a possibility. I'm not sure. I'll contact the manufacturer and see if that is available. Hope you like this. If you do, please like and subscribe. That helps out the channel quite a bit, and that way you're around for when I do all the rest of the testing here. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.